Listen, thanks for coming today. Thanks for coming to the Greatness Factory. I believe you can manufacture greatness in people. And my story, if you don't know, is I spent a decade as a high school women's basketball coach, coaching 14 to 18-year-olds, high school girls. And parents would drop their daughters off to me, and they all said the same thing. Coach, my daughter's got a lot of potential. She just needs something. What do you think they said she needed? Confidence was one of the number one things. Direction, guidance, accountability, structure. Every now and then they said a good whipping. We're right about that too, right? But I said, thank goodness you brought your daughter to us, because we manufacture greatness. We manufacture greatness here. So no matter what you do for a living, there's a lot of real estate people here. There's other people in the room. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to basically break down the systems and structures that we use to help you grow your business. Okay? What happened is I began to win a lot of games at Riverdale. The more games we won, obviously when you start to win a bunch, people want to know what? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing with those kids? And so I began writing books. At that time, the first of 13. I now have 13 books out about how you engineer something to win, how you produce at a very high level. And the more I wrote books, the more people began to ask me to speak. And the more I began to speak, the more I say, man, I like coaching adults. So I retired from coaching high school at 31 years old. And the last 11 years, all I've been doing is coaching business people. Okay? We now have about 700 people in our coaching program. Most of those people come to the Greatness Factory every month. And so I'm coaching them in a very systematic cycle on how to build, grow, scale a business. Okay? I personally started this business with no lines of credit, no loans, no investors. I think I started with less than $7,500 in the bank, and we are now about a $4 million company with goals to be a $10.5 million company. So everything I'm going to tell you to do today, I'm doing. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. I'm not going to tell you something to do that we're not doing. And anytime I say something that we're doing and I catch us not doing it, like I told my team this morning, I was speaking yesterday and I said, we're not doing that very well. And I'm not going to stand up in front of people and tell them to do it if we're not doing it, okay? So what kind of success could we have? We've taken real estate agents from 45 deals a year. We have one agent that I started with 45 deals a year. He's now doing over 125 deals per year. We've got consistent results of 30 to 50% with people. But we don't only coach real estate, we coach mortgage, we coach insurance, we coach heating and cooling companies, we coach daycare centers, we coach anybody, but they have one thing in common. They want to grow. They want to grow their business, okay? Why is growing a business so complicated? When you're thinking about growing your business, tell me some of the number one things you struggle with. What are some of the number one things? Fear of growth. We talk about that a lot. Fear, rejection, lack of confidence. Okay? What's another thing you think people struggle with? Time. Thank goodness you're here, because you're the only one answering the questions. Okay, you get bonus points. Here's the biggest thing I see. You don't have a structure. You don't have a structure. So what I spend a lot of time doing is basically finding and filling missing structures. Okay? So if I ask you today, how do you get customers? Okay? And I said, could you tell me the number one strategy you use for getting new customers? And if that strategy is not working, could you tell me the number two strategy you use? And if that one's not working, could you tell me the number three strategy you use? See, most people do not have a customer getting strategy. And I got to drill in your brain that the purpose of your business is to create new customers. Everybody follow me? The whole purpose of your business is to generate new money. So I want to get in your brain of all the things you could do in a day. That you could say, well, I was busy. Well, I've spent a lot of time doing this. If you didn't spend time on nothing but new money, then in my opinion, that day wasn't a success. So I recommend that every single person that we coach spend a minimum of 2 hours on nothing but generating new money. Okay? Everybody with me? Now, I go all over the country. Tomorrow I'll be in Miami, Florida. And I say, the purpose of the business is to generate new money. And I say, does everybody in the room believe that we should be prospecting for 2 hours a day? And what do you think every person says? Absolutely. Then I say, well, how many people in the room are actually spending 2 hours a day getting new customers? And then what do you think people say? Oh, coach, like I'm just so busy. Okay, the Eagles had a song many years ago called Too Busy Being Fabulous. That's what I tell people. You're too busy being fabulous. The purpose of the business is what? Generate new what? Money. So if you left here today and you didn't take anything else out of this workshop and you said, I'm going to spend 2 hours a day every day generating new money, your business will grow by 30 or 40%. Would you agree with that? Now, here's the deal. You can't mix activities together. You can't mix operational activities with sales activities. Okay? Now I joke a lot about this on Neapolitan ice cream. Anybody eat Neapolitan ice cream? Chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry? It's clearly delineated. There's a strawberry, there's a chocolate, and there's a vanilla. If you were to sit out that ice cream out on Thompson Lane on a hot summer day, what would that ice cream look like? One big mess, which is exactly what most salespeople's day look like. They look like one big mess. You know why? They're mixing activities together. They're mixing activities together. So when I say focused on new money, you should do nothing but for 2 hours focused on nothing but new money. What I'm really saying is you're not dealing with anything that occurred in your past. That makes sense? Like you sold it last week. There's some service to be done on it today. During those 2 hours, you don't focus on any of that service. The number one thing you focus on is generate new money, new money, new money, new money. Everybody understand? Okay, this is very critical, guys. So during our call times, I like to do 9 to 11 for 2 hours a day. I like to do nothing but focus on new money. Now, I'm going to give you 4 places that new money can come from, and I want you to write these down. I'm going to give you 4 places that new money can come from. Number 1, it can come from current clients that you're going to be selling something else to. Okay? It can come from current clients that you could sell something new to. Okay? So you're calling a current client and you're presenting an idea. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Now, for all the real estate people in the room, most of you are. I've lived in Rutherford County now I'm 42. I moved here in, I don't know. My mom's in the back, so whenever I moved out of your house, Mama, I moved to Murfreesboro. I could count on one hand the number of real estate agents who have called me directly and presented a real estate idea to me. And we say, well, why not? I bought millions of dollars of real estate. I just bought a $1.3 million property 20 minutes from here to do retreats in. I buy real estate, I sell real estate, get into commercial real estate, I do short-term real estate. Most people that follow me know that I do that, so why wouldn't a real estate agent pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, I don't know who you use for your real estate needs. I don't know if you're satisfied with them or not, but I'd love the opportunity to sit down with you and present some ideas to you. Now, let's go back to the heating and cooling business. My man back there in the heating and cooling business. Do you know how many heating and cooling companies have ever called on me to get my business? Yeah, well, actually 0. I used a heating and cooling company because I coached them. But they didn't call on me for business, and guess what they didn't do after? They didn't call me back. Everybody see that? Now, selling is initiating. It is not waiting on something to happen. Selling is presenting ideas to people. You follow what I'm saying? So this past weekend we had a heating and cooling unit out. I called into I didn't know about you, or I'd have called you. I called into a different company to come out and fix our unit. It was on a Saturday. They didn't answer the phone. They didn't call me back within 30 or 40 minutes. Everybody with me? Write this stat down. 67% of people use the very first person that contacts them. 67% of people use the very first person that contacts them. So I got a unit out on this new lodge that I purchased. I go, I'm going to give this heating and cooling company a chance. New company. Big brand recognition. I call, nobody answers, goes to voicemail, nobody calls me back. They call me back like 3 hours later. Then they call me 3 days later. By that time, I'd already had somebody come out there to fix the unit. Does that make sense? But here's what I guarantee you will not happen. I guarantee you that company that I used, they will never call me back again. They should have already called me back this week. How was the experience? Was the technician good? If you ever need anything else, what about any of the other properties you have? You ever understand what I'm saying? The selling is initiating. And what I don't see a lot of people do is they don't initiate the sales cycle. Initiating means I take initiative. Everybody follow me? So if I'm a real estate agent in Rutherford County, you know what I'm doing? I'm picking up the phone every day and I'm calling people. And I'm coming every day with a hit list of people, and I'm calling them, and I'm saying, I don't know who represents you for your real estate needs. I don't know if you're satisfied with those people. I don't even know if you're in the market for it. But I'd love to sit down with you and show you what we could do for you. And that's not how most people think. Most people think, well, I got to call you. I got to have a problem. I call you. Okay, here's the deal. I'm initiating every day. Okay, I'm initiating every single day. Now, if you notice up here, so get in your brain, selling is really just sharing an idea with another person. That's all selling is. I'm going to present an idea to you. You may or may not like that idea. If you don't like that idea, I got another idea. Okay? That's what selling is. Okay? Now, if you notice up here, this is really the whole sales cycle. Number one, we got to generate new opportunity, and that new opportunity doesn't just magically happen. Like, we have to initiate that opportunity. And I'm going to show you 4 or 5 strategies on how to do that. But most people are not hitting their sales goals for one reason. They don't have enough leads. They don't have enough leads because they don't have enough activity. Money follows energy. Money follows movement. Money follows circulation. Money never follows stagnation. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Money's not going to follow you if you stay home and work from your house in your pajamas. Okay? Money's going to follow you when you get out and move and circulate and talk to people. So write this stat down. For every 30 people you talk to, only 4.8 of those people are going to be interested. Out of every 40 people you talk to, 30 people, excuse me, only 4.8 of those people are going to be interested. So guess what? You got to talk to a lot of people. I'm going to a conference tomorrow. There's going to be 35,000 people there. I'm taking 25 of those 35,000 with me. And you know what we're going to be talking about? Business. How can I help you? I'm going to be meeting and greeting as many people as I can. Every day I'm talking to new people. Feeding that pipeline with new people. Okay? So the first real problem you've got when you're thinking about this is you don't have enough, you're not initiating enough opportunity into your funnel. You're not talking to enough strangers. You're not circulating with enough people. And because of that, your pipeline's real thin. And because your pipeline's real thin, you don't have enough opportunity to close enough deals to make enough money. Does that make sense? Like if you came to me and said, look, I want to be coached by you, here's the first thing I'm going to ask you. How many leads are you getting every week? I'm going to say, are you hitting your sales goals? 9 out of 10 people are going to say what? No. That's why you came. I'm going to ask you, how many leads are you getting? And you're going to say a number. Well, I'm getting 5, I'm getting 10, I'm getting 20, I'm getting 30. I'm going to say, is that enough? And you're going to say what? No. Then I'm going to ask you, how many strategies are you using to get your phone to ring with a qualified person on the other end of it? And you're probably going to say, well, boy, that's a good question, Coach. That's a good question. Purpose of any business is what? Generate a new customer. So at any given time, I'm using 14 to 20 different strategies at one time to get our phone to ring. And I would tell you that ain't enough. So if you follow me, you see what I'm doing. I'm doing events, that's a strategy. I'm doing social media, that's a strategy. I'm hitting my database, that's a strategy. I'm offering opportunity for our current clients to buy other things like retreats or one day with me. I'm creating packages. I'm doing strategic partnerships. I'm doing a podcast every week. I'm writing blogs every week. Why do you think I'm doing all this stuff? To get the phone to ring. Does that make sense? What if I was only doing 1 or 2 things? The phone ain't going to ring that much. So when I'm looking at a lot of people's business, I'm like, man, you ain't doing enough stuff. Like, you don't have enough strategy here. You need a whole lot more strategies to generate more business. You're only doing 1 or 2 things, and that just ain't enough in today's market. There's too much noise. There's too much saturation. There's too many things people can focus on. Like, you're going to have to beef up how much activity you're taking. Okay? Now, when you're thinking about feeding your pipeline, I want you to think for a minute the top 3 or 4 strategies you're using to feed this pipeline. Okay, I want you to write down those top 3 or 4 things that you're currently doing to feed this whole pipeline with new opportunity. Not old opportunity, new opportunity. All right, now let me ask you a question. When you're looking at those strategies, ask yourself this question: is that enough? Right? Like some people have a hard time writing 4 down. Like if you're just doing 1 or 2 things and that phone ain't ringing enough, then those 1 or 2 things are not even close to enough things. Okay? Now, if your phone is ringing so much that you can't handle it, see, I want to create a business that I got to have a whole team of people. See all these people over here? All these people here are just handling all the demand that I create in a week. Just handling leads and demand. There's sometimes we may create 400 leads in a week. You follow what I'm saying? But here's what I would tell you. I don't need 400, I need 4,000. You follow what I'm getting at? Like we're looking every day like this ain't enough leads. This ain't enough leads. This ain't enough leads. Because I know for all those 400 people, only 16% of them are going to do anything. So for those 400 people, do 16% of 400. That's how many people are going to take action. So I got to go through thousands of people to get a person to take action on something. That's how you need to be thinking. Everybody understand what I'm saying? So with you, when you're looking at your strategies, now let me go back to my basketball coaching days. I want to go back to championship night. I was playing in the championship game. There's 10,000 people that were there at the game. And what I did worked 37 times. I was 37-3. So I won 37 games and I lost 3. And I get in the championship game, and guess what? It ain't working. What I had done 37 times that night was not working. So I go in at halftime and I'm like, it ain't working. It ain't working. So I'm sitting there going, okay, what do we do? Well, let's pull out a strategy that we used to do 3 or 4 years ago, but we haven't practiced it, we haven't tested it, but I got to do something to change the energy. Everybody see that? So I come out in the second half and I change strategies. I come out and run and jump. I trap. The first 3 possessions, they throw the ball up in the stands. Those 3 possessions, we gain momentum. We turn around and win the championship game. Why? I pulled out another strategy because none of my strategies were working. Well, what I'm getting you to realize at some of the things you're doing right now, they ain't working. They're not working like they need to. Now, we could either continue to do those strategies or we could pull out some more strategies. Everybody follow me? Okay? Now, if you got so much business that you can't handle it, you got a different problem than what I'm talking about. You most likely have an infrastructure problem. Like you can't handle it. Let's go back to the heating and cooling. You go out and get too much business, your problem's going to be what? You don't have enough techs. You can't find enough good techs. You can't train them fast enough. That's a different problem than what I'm talking about. That is still a problem, by the way, is you can't even handle all the business you've gotten. But which problem would you like to have? Not enough leads and not enough business? Or so much business you can't handle all of it? Like I love when people say, oh God, I'm so busy, I'm so crazy, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm like, hold on a second. There's 2 types of overwhelm. One is you don't have anything. The other is you got too much. Which one would you like to have? 2 money problems. I don't have enough, I got too much, I don't even know what to do with it. See, wealthy people have got a different kind of problem. They're trying to do something with all the money they got. Which problem would you like to have? That's only going to happen through selling. Okay? So how many people come to the conclusion that this is a realization I had 11 years ago when I started my coaching business. The realization is I don't have a systematic way to go out and get business. I did not have a good peace of mind that I knew how to go out and get business. Okay? And because of that, I was uneasy. It's like this is random. This is randomness in motion. Everybody follow what I'm saying? One definition of confusion is randomness in motion. Just random, which is how most people attack their days. I prospect a little bit, I do this a little bit, I do this a little bit, I do this a little bit. I needed a system to go out and generate business because the purpose of the business is to generate new money. Right? The purpose of the business is to generate new money. So what I said is I don't have a good system here to initiate new money into my cycle. So what I began to do is I began to build out all of these strategies. And I began to say, how am I going to attack a day? So when you see me today, what I do is I come into the day with a plan. And so my day is completely mapped out. This is how I want to get you. If you notice over on this side, I know it's hard to see, it tells you what time I wake up, what I did in the morning, when I get to the office, every meeting I have. On this side of my planner tells you all of the activity I take in a day. These are the people I'm calling. This is my hit list. These are the people who have indicated interest. This is my farm club. These are my biggest clients that I want to love on for today. These are my new customers that I signed up today. Everybody see that? Now, what am I doing when I take this much activity? What do you think is going to happen when I do this much stuff? I'm going to sell something. It's just a matter of how much we're going to sell and to how many people. Now, what if I multiply and everybody on my team is doing this much activity? So in a given day, I do 20 to 30 high-value activities. And a high-value activity is the highest use of my time to generate new customers. Everybody see that? But I didn't plan it today. When did I plan it? Last night. I sat down at the end of every night and I map out my next day. And I would tell you that less than 2% of people do this. Now, I just made that stat up. 83% of all stats are made up. So I just made that one up. But here's what I would tell you. Here's the biggest thing I would tell you. I coach a lot of people. I'm talking like 700 to 1,000 people a month. And most of them do not map out their day. So what do? They show up at the office and they're like, okay, what are we supposed to do today? They don't have their prospecting time blocked off. You understand what I'm saying? And so you'll hear them say, what do you do all day? I'm just putting out fires. I'm just putting out fires. I'm just putting out fires. I'm so busy. I'm like, how much time did you spend generating new money today? Feeding that pipeline today? How much money did you spend today generating new money? Well, I didn't do that one thing. I did a bunch of other things. The most important thing is what? New money. Okay? So write these down. New money can come from these areas. Current customers. Okay? The stat that I use all the time, every transaction you do should be worth 5.7 referrals. Every deal you do should be worth almost 6 commissions. If you're not getting 6 commissions over the lifetime of the consumer, then you're not doing that good of a job. So when I say call on your current clients, let's go back to the heating and cooling company. What they should have done is call me by Monday. Did you like the tech? Was it a good experience? Coach Burt, who else do we need to be helping? Do you have any other properties that you feel like you need some heat? You see what I'm saying? They could generate another sale if they just followed up with the past customer. Everybody see that? 98% of people do not follow up after the transaction is over. That's a true stat. 98% of people. So when I'm telling you call on your current customers, it could be, hey, was it a good experience? I hope it was great for you. Is everything going good? Who else do we need to be helping? That's one group for new money. The second group for new money is past customers. And if you haven't called your past customers, I understand, you feel like you're busy, but this is a high-value activity. Okay? If you hadn't called them in 6 months to a year, first thing you need to do is apologize. Hey, this is my fault. I'm sorry I haven't called you. I do believe in following up after the sale. I hope you can forgive me. Okay? And if you can, I'd love to just stay involved in your life. So my rule for a real estate transaction is simple. You should call them the day of the transaction. Buyer's remorse kicks in within 30 seconds after signing the loan papers. They're scared. So I would teach you, after the transaction is over, as soon as you get in the car, you should call them. Congratulate them. Congratulations on a new home. Thank you so much for letting me represent you. I appreciate it. Now, I'm going to check back with you 2 days from today. Make sure everything's going good. Make sure you get moved in. See if there's anything else I can do for it. Then I'm going to check back on you 2 weeks from today. Then I'm going to check back on you 2 months from today. Then I'm going to find a way to stay involved in your life. Everybody see that? Now, I did a real estate transaction when I was 25 years old, where I bought a $119,000 condo in Murfreesboro. It was my very first house that I ever owned. I loved that condo. Absolutely loved it. Person that represented me, guess which real estate agent I used? First one that contacted me. 67% of people used the very first one. He was a great guy. You would probably know him. He's here in Murfreesboro. Good guy. Did a good job on the transaction. We got it across the finish line. A little bit bumpy a few times, but we got it across the finish line. And I got in it and I loved it. And guess what he didn't do? He didn't follow up with me. Oh, he followed up with me, but it was a drip campaign, an automated email, an email he sent out to everybody else. And every Halloween, he would deliver a pumpkin to my house. Okay? Now, he didn't get involved in my life. He didn't check in on me. He didn't come to any of my basketball games. I only made $24,000 that year. That's how much my salary was, $24,000. And he probably looked at me like he's just a little fish, a little high school basketball coach. Now I see him sometimes in Murfreesboro, and here's what he does. I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry. How much commission money has he lost out on? Over his lifetime for not following up with me. Everybody with me? It's hundreds of thousands of commissionable dollars. You know what I wanted him to do? Support me. I wanted him to come to a basketball game. I wanted him to be involved in my life. What he did was sending me automated drips. Now, that's not my problem. I moved on to another real estate agent that does call me, that stays involved in my life, that does support me, and he got all those commission dollars. Everybody, does that make sense? But that one agent could have gotten all that money if he would have just done a good job following up with me. So if you're not calling your past clients, you're losing money. Would you agree? Okay? If you're not calling your current clients on a consistent basis, you're losing money. The third group of people you should be calling on every day are strategic partners. Your strategic partners should be helping you make more money. Everybody with me? And I consider a strategic partner anybody I am in business with. Meaning, my doctor should be sending me referrals. My attorney should be sending me referrals. My lawn care company should be sending me referrals. Do you know my dry cleaning company sends me referrals? Because you know what I said? If I'm going to work with you, I expect you to help me grow my business. And guess what? They do. Both of their people are in our coaching program, plus they help us get new business. Everybody that I'm a partner with. So my insurance guy, if he's not bringing me new business, you know what I do? I call him and I say, hey man, we're partners. The reason I can afford all this insurance is because of my business. If I don't have all this business, I can't afford all this insurance. So I'm going to help you grow your business, but here's the deal. I need you to help me grow my business. Right? And he brings me referrals. Everybody see that? So during my call times, I see every relationship I'm in as a business partner. Everybody see that? And I expect those people to send me business. Now, in exchange of that, what do? Send them business. That's how a good partnership works. Okay? So during my call times, I'm calling current clients, past clients, I'm calling strategic partners, and the fourth people I'm calling is I'm calling direct leads that we've generated. Direct leads that we've generated. Okay? Now, I'm going to introduce you to a couple concepts today. Because when you come into the day, you may be saying, like, who am I supposed to call on? I just gave you 4 groups of people that you can call on. Okay? So there should be no confusion. Now, if you say, well, it seems hard, or who am I supposed to call? I just tell people there's 270,000 people in Rutherford County. There's 1.8 million people in Middle Tennessee. Is there plenty of people to call on? Yes or no? There's never a shortage of people to call on. You're just not calling them. So the question is, why are you not calling them? Go through all the reasons you don't pick up the phone and call them. I'm listening. Eric, give me a number to call. Right now? Yes? I'm going to show you how hard this is. Pick a lead and let me call them. Ready? Yes? 832. Yep. 774. Yep. 2422. Okay. Chris Vaughn. Who? Chris Vaughn. This is a real estate agent in Houston, Texas. Now, this is how simple this is. Okay? Now, if you got any call reluctance whatsoever, you're going to have to get over this. Now, most likely I'm going to get his voicemail, right? Which is what most people do. And then what are we going to do? We're going to leave a message. Now, how many people struggle with this right here? Yeah. See, most people have call reluctance. What are we afraid of? All they can do is say no. All I'm going to do is present an idea to him. Everybody with me? Okay, what if I was calling on $1 million deal?
Record your message after the tone. Simply hang up when done. Or for delivery,
We're leaving a voicemail.
press the pound sign.
Hey Chris, good afternoon. This is Coach Burt calling you from the Greatness Factory. I'm working on about a $2.5 million deal in Houston, Texas. I was wondering if you could help me with it. Could you call me back when you get an opportunity? And after you call me back, you know what we're going to work on? We're going to work on a retreat for you and your wife and all of your agents down at our property in Florida. I know Eric White has sent you a great proposal and presented a great idea for you. So call me back this afternoon by 4. Talk soon. See you, bud. Now, we'll see if he calls back. How many of you think he'll call me back by 4? Now, here's the deal. I would dare say he don't even check it by 4. This is my point, right? How can we involve him in an opportunity if he don't even answer the phone? Does that make sense? So here's the deal. Most people won't even pick up the phone and call right there. Why? So what's the reason you won't pick up the phone and initiate? All I can do is call me back. It's 3:37 right now. We'll see if he calls back by 4. But here's my point. All I'm going to do is present an idea to him. All I can say is what? Yes or no. That's a hit list phone call right there. Or he's indicated interest, that's a farm club phone call. So the first thing we do every day is when I come into the day, I got a hit list of people I'm calling on. Everybody see that? I got a hit list of people I'm calling on. Now, those are people, I believe, notice the words up here, we can help with our services. Those are people we can help with our services. Okay? Now, I'm getting hot here. When you think about this, there we go. When you think about this, to initiate a sales cycle and feed that cycle, first thing we got to do is we got to call on people and initiate an idea. Everybody see that? We got to call and initiate an idea. Okay? Now, all they can say is what? I'm not interested. I'm using somebody else. Don't call me back. Lose my number. Whatever. But most agents and most people I see, that's not how they operate. How do they operate? Go to the office and do what? Wait on something to happen. Somebody's got to call me. Somebody's got to have a problem. Somebody's got to want to sell a house. I would never operate like that if I was a real estate agent. I would pick up the phone and call and talk, have a discussion with as many people as I can. So, I want you to start every day off with what's called a hit list. Hit list, 3 to 7 people that you think you can help. Now, how many people, when they leave here today, will commit to prospecting for a minimum of 2 hours a day? Okay? Now, this is a big part. Why are you smiling?
Everybody raised their hand. I didn't raise my hand. I was so close.
I know. That's my point. Is that what's the number one thing? What's the number one purpose of your business? Generate what? New clients. So you got to commit to what? Prospecting. Now, I bet nobody in the room woke up and said, man, I can't wait to go prospect today. Like, I'm just dying to prospect. Like, I love calling people. Okay? Nobody does. I don't. You don't. Nobody does. But you know what? It's a part of business. It's a part of generating business. We have to talk to people. So I want you to write this down. Money changes hands when problems are solved. Money changes hands when problems are solved. Every dollar that's in your pocket started where? In the pocket of who? Another person. Why did they take that money out of your pocket and give it to you? Because you solved a problem. What if they don't even know they have a problem? See, I tell people all the time, you got 3 or 4 problems you don't even see that you have. Right? I worked with a hairdresser at one time, and I was looking at her business, and I said, you got a sign that nobody can read. Like your business has a sign out front. From the road, you can't see it. You don't even know there's a salon in there. Like it's the way that, I'm like, would you be willing to spend money to get a new sign? Because they can't see your sign. Right? Now, the city of Murfreesboro has a really odd ordinance that you can't have on a 2-story building, you can't have signage, which is why they won't let me put a sign that says the Greatness Factory up here. So it's in the windows, which I'm going through and trying to fight that because Morgan Stanley has a sign, but I don't have a sign. Because they say when you have a 2-story building, You can't have multiple signs. Well, what if there's only 2 offices up there? I understand if there's 40 offices up here, but there's only 2. They can go to Morgan Stanley or they can come to the Greatness Factory. Don't you think that's a pretty stupid ordinance? Sure it is. Okay, but I got to go through the city, fight that, and go, man, this is stupid. They get off that elevator, they can go one place or another, so why can't I have a sign up here? Okay, but when you're thinking about it, money changes hands when problems are solved. The bigger the problem, the more money people pay to solve it. So selling really is what? Solving problems for other people. That's all it is. And when you look at selling like that, it's so much easier than trying to convince a person to do something they don't want to do. Does that make sense? Now let's go back to the problem of having too much money. Once you have money, you tell people that you have too much money or you have some money, what are they going to do? You're going to get 10 different ways on what you can do with it. Yes or no? Dave Ramsey, cut up your credit cards, pay off all your debt. Robert Kiyosaki, buy real estate. Grant Cardone, buy apartment complexes. Everybody understand? You go to different people and they're going to say, this is what you need to do with your money. That's your problem. But that's what's happening all the time. You're getting too much counsel. You're getting too much stuff. So selling is merely solving problems for people. We can solve bluegill problems. Right, that word bluegill, like a little fish. We can solve little bluegill problems, or we can solve blue marlin problems. Okay, we can solve bluegill problems or blue marlin problems. Now, what does that look like in real estate? You can represent a $179,000 home, or you can represent a $1.79 million home. Still solving the same problem. Everybody see that? So when you go out to sell, here's what I'm doing. When I'm making sales calls, here's what I'm doing. I'm asking questions. Are you hitting your sales numbers? No. Do you have a selling system? No. Are you prospecting 2 hours a day? Nope. Do you have a good service after the sale plan? No, I don't. Okay, looks like to me you got 3 or 4 problems. If we could solve those problems for you, would you mind giving us some money to solve those problems for you? No, not at all. See how easy that was? Money changes hands when problems are solved. So how many of you up until today come into the day and you would consider yourself in a reactive stance waiting on a problem to happen before you try to solve it? And how many would you say every day I come into the day and I got 7 or 8 people I'm calling on? Everybody see that? So I want you to think of the difference. Cheetahs, turtles. Cheetahs are on offense, attacking, pushing. Like when a cheetah wakes up in the morning, it's very methodical. It knows exactly what it's going to get. Like it's going out to hunt something. Okay, when I wake up every day, I'm asking, who can we help? Who can we help? Who do we need to be calling on? Everybody see that? Okay? Let me give one more example, then we'll move on. When I retired from athletic coaching and I started my business, I targeted the 50 most successful people in Rutherford County. And I reached out to those people with this phone call. I followed your success. You are incredibly, wildly successful. I would love to buy you a cup of coffee and just spend some time asking you how you became so successful. 46 of those people took a meeting with me. Okay? There were 4 snobs that wouldn't take a meeting with me. 46 of those people said, sure, I'd love to talk to you. So I sit down, I show up at the meeting, I'm sitting there taking notes, like how did you be so successful? What did you do? When did you start your business? What's the biggest thing you learned? And I'm sitting there talking, and about halfway through the meeting, they shut up. People love talking about themselves. And they say, well, Coach Burt, tell me what you're doing now. I said, well, I started a coaching company. I'm coaching business people. I'm using everything I learned in the coaching world. Here's what some of them said. Oh, we need some of that. Matter of fact, if we don't, somebody else does. I know 3 people that could use your services right now. And from those 46 meetings, I generated all kinds of business. Just people going out. Now, I know somebody, you can do this. I can help here. You can do this. Now, I didn't just retire and go, well, I hope somebody calls me to coach them. I targeted 50 people and tried to get a meeting with them. Everybody see that? I took initiative. I listened for problems. Oh, I'm not hitting my sales numbers. Okay, I can help you there. And some of it, I said, man, I'll do it for free just to show you I can do it. Okay, and if you go back in the old days, first I got, in those days I got John Floyd, who was the big fish that I caught back in 2008. Then because I got John Floyd, I got Bob Parks, and then I got Bob Parks, and then I got John Jones. Then I just ran to the table and got everybody. All because of just initiating. Everybody see that? So tomorrow when you wake up, matter of fact, not tomorrow, tonight before you go to bed, what are you going to do? You're going to make a hit list. Now, how often should you have one of these hit lists? Every day. Every night I sit down, and many times I do it with my 6-year-old daughter. And she has a little plan, and I have a plan. And I say, get your notebook, sweetheart, and let's map out our day for tomorrow. Okay, wouldn't it be great to be my kid? And I'm like, we're going to map out our day tomorrow. What are your goals for tomorrow? She's got different goals than I do. Daddy's got goals. She's got goals. Everybody with me? Every night before I go to bed, I spend 7 to 15 minutes. Okay? 3:46. Hey, guess who called me back? I already got a call back. See that? Now, here's my point. When you think about it, every day we start with a hit list. Money changes hand. Bluegill versus blue marlin. Now, when you're fishing, you can fish in Percy Priest Lake for bluegills, or you can fish in the Gulf of Mexico for blue marlins. Everybody see that? Blue marlins can be one or two things. Bigger deals with bigger people, or multiple deals. Multiple deals. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay? Now, there's a concept called customer optimization, where if I land Williams' business and I do a good job with Williams' business, okay, and I do a great job with him, then he's connected to 10, 15, 20 other people. Optimization is I get him, plus I get his cousins, plus I get his friends, plus I get his family, plus I get, you understand what I'm saying? I optimize this one relationship. That won't happen unless I follow up with William after the transaction is over. Everybody see that? Okay? So every day I got a hit list. Now, when you're thinking about this hit list, now we're going to move to the second thing. When you're thinking about the hit list, what you're trying to do is you're looking at this concept. Okay? All right. When you're thinking about this, I want to go to the next one. When you present your idea to people, right here, this is my hit list. I'm using multiple strategies to feed this. When you get over here and you make contact with these people, there's 3 things you're going to do. You're going to build rapport, you're going to do discovery, you're going to explain your services. Everybody see that? I'd like to present an idea to you. I'm going to ask you some key questions. I'd like to explain how we can help you. At that moment, they're going to do one of 2 things. They're going to say, yes, I'm interested, but I'm not ready to go today. When they say, yes, I'm interested, but I'm not ready to take action, that initiates a 7-touch follow-up. Does everybody see that? Now, how many of you feel comfortable that you got a 7-touch follow-up when a person indicates interest in your services? Anybody feel like they got a good one? Okay, now, let's go back to the heating and cooling company. When I called in on Saturday, was I indicating interest in their service, yes or no? So first problem was they weren't fast enough. They had somebody call me on Monday, which is 2 or 3 days after the experience. My guess is I will never hear from them again. So how many touches did they go? They called me back on Saturday 3 hours later, and they called me back on Monday. So that's how many touches? Here's the stat. 80% of the time, it takes 7 to 15 touches to move a prospect to a buyer. 80% of the time. So I present an idea to Tad. Tad, I don't know if you've opened this idea or not. Okay? I got to ask you some key questions. I'm going to explain my services to you. Tad says, you know what? This sounds good, Coach. I'm not ready to take action today, but I'm interested. Just ask Kim. Kim, how many times did I follow up with you? Yeah. And here's the deal. She wanted to do it. They wanted to do it. They just had, there's things going on. There's things happening. So what do? I just keep touching. Hey, and I would give her proof of example. Let me show you the strategies I would use, right? So I'd break the strategies down. I'm going to be coaching your agents on these things. Let me show you something I did for another real estate company. Man, I just did this. So what I'm doing is I'm just jabbing. I'm just jabbing. Most people do not have a 7-touch system right here when a person indicates interest. So what they do is they go 1 or 2 touches, and then they do what? Quit. In my opinion, if you're going 1 or 2 touches, you're not even in the game. Like how much conviction do you really have about your services if you're only willing to go 1 or 2 times? Right? You don't have any conviction. When I lock into something, it's like a dog on a bone. Like I ain't quitting. I'm going to make up my mind. I'm going after that. And I'm not stopping until I at least get to 7 touches. Now, on touch number 7, I say, have you noticed how hard I've worked to earn your business? Norma, have you noticed how hard I've worked to earn your business? And I'm going to say, Norma, has anybody else in this town worked this hard? She's going to say, no, good Lord. Norma, it seems like you want to do this, but you're stuck on one thing. Am I right about that? You're stuck on price. You're stuck on this. I can't help you until you commit. But once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. Everybody see that? Now, what if I only go 2 touches and she don't answer both of those times? And I quit. It's not that Norma don't want to do it. Norma's just busy. She's got other things going on in her life. So she needs me to come back to her and circle back to her and get her interest again, get her attention again. What I've done is I've really lost her attention. The purpose of the follow-up is to keep attention on what you want, right? Like I know you want to purchase this house. It seems like you're excited about it, but we're losing some momentum here. We got to gain some traction on this. So most agents don't have this tenacity to keep going back, okay? So right here, all right, so I want you to stop right here and I want you to tell the people at your table, out of everything I've shared with you, what is your biggest kryptonite right now? You don't have a hit list. You don't prospect 2 hours a day. You figured out you don't have a good 7-touch system. Or you don't present ideas enough to people. Like, what is your biggest kryptonite? What's holding you back out of what I shared with you so far? Because the way I get an increase for people is I find out where they're deficient. Right? I find out where they're deficient. I'm like, you're deficient here and here and here. And if we just fix that, you're going to make a lot more money. My goal for every real estate agent I coach is a pickup of a minimum of 5 deals a year on top of what you're going to do. My goal really goes to get you to 15 more deals in a year. If you do what I'm telling you to do, you'll pick up that much money. Now do the commission on that. That's a lot of money. If you just go do what I'm teaching you to do, okay? So take a minute right now and talk about where you're deficient, okay? Okay. Let me tell you what part of winning is. Let me tell you what part of winning was. When I was growing up, my mom's sitting right there. If you don't see Mama Burt sitting right there. When I was growing up, my mom would not let me miss a day of school. I did not miss a day of school from the time I was in, 3rd grade till I graduated. I only missed in 2nd grade because I had chicken pox and they wouldn't let me come. And there were days I'd be like, well, other kids get to miss. And, you know, when they're not feeling good, they get to miss. And Mom was all like, get up, get dressed, and let's go. And there were days that I hated that until I started my business. And I remembered, it don't matter how I feel. Amateurs listen to their feelings. Everybody with me? Professionals do not listen to their feelings. So if there's days I wake up in the morning, I'm like, man, do I really have to motivate these people? Do I really have to get on an airplane? Do I really have to show up? I remember this concept of, no, you show up every day. And it ain't, see, too many real estate agents listen to their feelings. Like, I don't feel like prospecting right now. I don't feel like going into the office. I feel like going to Dairy Queen and getting a blizzard. I feel like playing on Facebook. I feel like sitting at the coffee shop for 2 hours. I feel like doing this. If you're ever going to be big time at anything, you have got to say, the lifeblood of my business is predicated on how well I generate new business and follow up. That's how I make money. Everybody understand what I'm saying? And I see too many people that don't show up every day. So I'll say, did you prospect yesterday? Well, you know, I didn't prospect yesterday, but I'm going to make up for it today, Coach. So I'm going to make 15 calls today. I would rather you make 7 calls a day versus go one day with no calls. Here's how some agents think. I had an agent tell me this, a top agent. He said, Coach, here's my strategy. I work hard and prospect. I get a bunch of business, and then I get lazy. Start going to the lake, start goofing off, living off the commission checks from last month. Then I have a huge drop-off in my business. Then I get real mad. And after I get real mad, then I go back and prospect again. He said, what do you think about that plan? I said, I think it's the dumbest plan I have ever heard of. You got to have a good month and then have a bad month. Here's the deal. Every day I come in, I work my hit list and I work my farm club. Every day I'm calling on new people. Every day I'm generating new business. Does that make sense? Now, how many of you found your kryptonite already? You don't prospect 2 hours a day, you don't work a hit list, and you don't have a good farm club. Or you don't service after the sale, and you're losing 6, 7, 8 deals because you don't follow up. Okay? This is you got to figure out, this is my big missing structure of my business. This is my big missing structure. Now, I coached an agent doing 125 deals a year several years ago in Clemson, South Carolina, Seneca, South Carolina. There's 7,000 people that live in that town. I want you to get your mind around this. He's doing 125 deals in a town of 7,000. That's dominating. Okay? And I went and I worked with him. Here's what he did. He was in his office every day at 8 a.m. Every day. He'd meet with his little team. He'd say, we must have had a big team. He had a team of 2 other people. That's it. He didn't have a big team. He had 2 other people in his office. They'd meet at 8:30 every morning. He'd go over. Here's what we're working on. Here's where we're going. Here's how we're going to do it. 9 o'clock, he'd go in his office. He'd shut the door, put his headset on. He would make outbound calls for 2 hours. Current clients, past clients, potential clients. He would go to lunch every day, always with somebody, never alone. Always with somebody influential in the city. Then in the afternoons, he would solve real estate problems. So he said, I prospect in the morning, and I solve the world's problems in the afternoon. And he was so dedicated and committed to it. And that's why he was doing 125 deals a year. Everybody see that? Part of your problem may be you just lack the discipline to get in there every day, and you're waiting on somebody else to do it. Okay? Now, if you need me to move in with you, I can move in with you, okay? But it's going to be very expensive for me to move in with you. And every time you do a low-value activity, I'm going to get on you. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is a non-money generating activity. You don't need to be doing this, okay? Stay focused. So, I'm going to show you the second thing when we're thinking about this concept, and we're looking at this. So, this is my hit list up here. Okay, this is my hit list up here. I'm initiating ideas. They say yes. If they say yes, I'm interested. Then I start my 7 touches. Now, I'm on touches. How should I follow up? Let me tell you how not to follow up. Don't ever call a person or a prospect and say, do you have any questions? That's the worst thing you can say. Because that is a question a person go, no, I don't have any questions. Don't ever say that, which is what most people say. Hey, do you have any? Just wonder if you got any questions. Okay? Don't say that. Here's another thing you don't need to say. You were on my list of people to call today. Number 3, just checking in or touching base with you. Everybody see this? This is how most people follow up. Touching base, checking in, do you have any questions? Never again. When you follow up with a person, there are 2 types of touches, if you notice. There is a linear touch, which is direct. Here's a linear touch. Justin, have you seen enough to make a decision? See how direct I am? Right? Have you seen enough to make a decision? Seems like you want to do this, but you're stuck on one thing. Am I right about that? See how direct I am with them? Okay? Big-time people do not ask softball questions. They're very direct. Have you seen enough to make a decision? Seems like you want to do it, but you're stuck on the price. You're stuck on this. You're stuck on that. Okay? That's a direct question. Here's one of my favorite for real estate agents. Person tells you I need to sleep on it. I understand. But I wouldn't be doing my job as your agent who's representing you and negotiating on your behalf if I didn't say this. If you have to sleep on it one more night, unfortunately, you may not be able to sleep in it in the future. See how direct that is? People are always more motivated by what they'll lose than what they'll gain. So if a person sits on a deal, okay, like you talking about these big deals, a person's sitting on it, here's what I'd say. How would you feel if I called you tomorrow morning and told you the deal wasn't available anymore? People are motivated by what they'll lose versus what they'll gain. You follow what I'm saying? So how would you feel if you lost out on this opportunity? Okay? Because I don't want to make that phone call. That's a linear touch. It's direct. Sometimes I say I brought you everything you wanted on a silver platter. Now what's stopping you from moving forward? I can't help you till you commit. But once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. Now, if you come at people that hard every time, then the intensity of it, though, and especially in the South, because we're all sweet tea and sweet. I coached people in Jersey for a year, you know, and the first thing they said to me is, you got to suck it up, Buttercup. You got to get tougher. They move fast and talk fast in Jersey. It's very direct communication. It ain't like we sales flirt in the South. Okay? Like, hey, if you need anything, let me give you my business card, and I can help you. No. Here's what you got. I'm not saying go all the way extreme, but you got to get firmer. Okay? Have you seen enough to make a decision? What's stopping you from taking action? On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about this? See these direct questions? When they put me on the phone with people, that's how I talk to them. Eric's talked to you 4 times. You've seen me speak 7 times. It seems like you want to do this. There's one thing stopping you. Let's go ahead and address what that one thing is. Is it price? Is it this? Is it this? I can't help you until you commit. But once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. See how direct I am there? That's linear. Now, a nonlinear touch, if you notice up there, a nonlinear touch represents a softer touch. So think of it in boxing as it's a jab, boom. Just a little jab, boom. So you need 3 nonlinear touches for every 1 linear. Everybody see that? Nonlinear touch is, William, I worked with somebody just like you the other day. They said it was an incredible experience. I'm going to send you a testimonial video from what they had to say. It's going to make William think a little bit. William, there's 2 strategies I came up with to get this deal across the finish line. Okay? I would use these strategies. Call me back by 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's a nonlinear touch. For every linear, that's direct, boom, you need 3 nonlinears. When you get to touch number 7, what are we going to say? Have you noticed how hard I've worked to put this deal together? Seems like you want to do it, but you're stuck on one thing. Everybody see that? Now, you can decide if you want to keep going from 7 to 15. How many of you don't feel like you have a good 7-touch follow-up right now? Okay, some of you do, some of you don't. You need it. Look, I'm telling you, you're losing a bunch of money right here. Now, I'm going to close on this and take any questions. The sales cycle is simple when you draw it up. Feed people in the funnel. Explain your services. They're going to say yes or they're going to object. Now, when you get objection is just opposition of thought. That's what the definition of objection is. You have presented me an idea, and I have an opposition of that idea. Does that mean that you still can't sell me something? No. Objection is part of selling. Okay? You want to see somebody sell? You ought to see my 6-year-old daughter. She's relentless at trying to sell her idea. I heard her the other day, we were somewhere, and I heard her telling my wife, they were arguing about something, and my 6-year-old daughter said, Mom, can't we both agree that this will be good for both of us? That's a sales line. Can't we both agree? And I walked in there and I told my wife, I'm like, hey, whatever she wants, give it to her. Let me tell you why. Because if she picked up on that at 6 years old, so I'm asking my daughter, I'm like, sweetheart, where did you learn that? Where did you learn how to say that at? She's like, I don't know, Dad. I heard it somewhere. Like, but that's a great sales line. Can't we both agree? That's what she was doing. She was selling her. We don't do that. Now, when you get objection to me is opposition of thought. It doesn't mean you're not going to buy. So when I get objection, here's the formula I use. I want you to write this formula down because it's going to be worth everything you came for today. All the money you paid to come today, you're going to get back right here, okay? Number 1, when I get objection, I always listen and I agree. That's really step 1 and 2. I listen to them and no matter what they say to me, I understand. I understand. This is crazy. It is crazy. This is ridiculous. The price of this house is ridiculous. You know what I say? It is ridiculous. I agree with them. Once I listen and I agree, I isolate the objection. And so let me tell you the best question to ask. Is there any other reason outside of this one thing that would keep you from moving forward with us? Everybody see that? If they go, well, then I know there's multiple objections. So I isolate the objection. Well, it's too expensive. Okay, I understand. Is there any other reason outside of you believing it's too expensive that would keep you from moving forward? Because it seems like you love it. Notice I use those words, it seems like, a lot. If you study top negotiators, one of the number 1 phrases top negotiators use is it seems like. That's a phrase that gets people talking. Seems like you want to do this. Does that sound good to you? Okay? So when you're talking to people, it seems like you want to do this, but you're stuck on one thing. You don't like the size of the master bedroom. You don't like this. You don't like that. Am I right about that? Yes. Okay, good. I don't like the master bedroom. Okay, I understand. Is there any other reason outside of you not liking the master bedroom that would prohibit you from moving forward on this house? That's an isolation question. So what I do is I isolate that objection, I put it right over here, and then I just attack it. Okay? I listen, I acknowledge, I listen and I agree, I isolate. Okay? Then I validate. If I could show you how the master bedroom is just a small part of a much bigger equation. Like this house has 97% of what you want at 100% of the price point you want it. If we're just hung up on this one thing, I mean, that's a small thing to hang up on based on this. Okay? Like a person may say, I don't like how big the yard is. So I say, so you're telling me that the yard is more important than the house. Is that what you're telling me? Well, no. Can't we both agree that you're going to spend 95% of your time in the house and 5% in the yard? You love the house, don't you? So what I do is I listen, I validate, I isolate, I acknowledge, listen, agree, then I isolate, then I validate, and if they don't move on that, I reframe. That's step 5. I challenge them. I challenge the prospect. Challenge just means make them think. Like, I can understand why you're thinking like this. I can understand why you're thinking this house is too expensive. But if I could show you how, in comparison to other houses in Rutherford County, per square foot, this house is the best house per square foot for this location. This is the hottest subdivision in Rutherford County. And we're giving you an opportunity to live in it. We're giving you the opportunity for your kids to go to school they want to go to. We're giving you the opportunity to have the master bedroom you've always wanted. I'm giving you the opportunity to have everything you wanted. So if a person says to me, it's not 100%, how many people have ever said it's not 100% of what I wanted? If you're going through my cycle, what would you say? I understand. I can understand why you'd want it to be 100%. Is there any other reason outside of it not being 100% that would keep you from moving forward? Well, no, it's just not got everything I wanted, okay? So then I may come back and challenge them. Can't we both agree that many times in life we don't get 100% of what we want? If I could get you 95% of what you want at 100% of the price point you want it, what would stop you from moving forward on this? See how I'm talking, right? And they're like, yeah, you're right. See, do you believe we get 100% of what we want in life? No. So when a person says that to you, it's a flawed statement. So what you got to do is be able to come back to them and go, look, I'm getting you 90% of what you want here. You know, it's kind of a flawed perspective to believe you're going to get a house with 100%. I live in the house, my dream house that I've always wanted. It ain't even 100% of what I wanted. There's still things I would add to it. You understand what I'm saying? So my point is that's a misconception. Your job as a sales professional is to challenge sometime their perspective. Notice I got up there the difference between a relationship builder. A relationship builder supplicates. A challenger reframes. Everybody see the difference between these two? A relationship builder supplicates. That means I put the buyer or the seller in a supreme position to me. But aren't you the one that's supposed to be the expert? So if you're going to be an expert, be an expert. Like, tell me what I'm supposed to do. Okay? Now, let's close with this. So how many of you have ever been coached on how to overcome objections before? Yeah, just a few people. Now, how many of y'all get objections every day? Don't you think this is an area you should be coached in? So you need a formula. Okay? Tonight, my daughter's going to give me objection. Don't want to go to bed, want to eat ice cream versus this. You know what I do? I understand. Is there any other reason outside of you want to stay up later that would keep you from moving upstairs to get into bed? No, Daddy. Can't we both agree that when you don't get enough sleep, you're grumpy in the morning, can't get you out of bed, start your day off poorly? So I need to get you in bed at 8 o'clock so you're ready to go in the morning, right? Because you got a big day tomorrow. You can use this formula on your kids. It's magical. It works. Listen, agree, not right. Eric used it all the time on his kids. Use it, okay? So adults are just big kids, okay? Now, last piece. If I overcome the objection and they say yes, when is the highest point of energy in a transaction? I'm in. When is the best time to ask for a referral? Hey, if this goes well like I think it's going to, when we're finished, I'm going to want to work with all your friends. Sound like a good deal? This is the highest point of energy in a transaction. When the moment they say yes to the time you get them to a better place. When you're calling and checking up on them, that's a great time to say, hey, is this going good? If it's going great, I'd love to help your friends. Who else do we need to be helping? Do not ask this question. Do you know anybody buying or selling real estate? That's a very creepy question. And it's awkward. Now, you call me, and William calls me and says, look, Coach, I love working with you. If it's up to me, I'd take 100 of you. But I can't get 100 of you, Coach. There's probably 5 people in your network that I don't know that I would like to know. Who are they? I would say, William, come on down to Monster Producer. I got 700 people you need to know. Get involved with them. Get around my community. There's going to be deals, okay? Now, this is where when you get a person to a better place, they end up becoming one of your biggest advocates. We call it the top 25. Imagine 25 people that know you, love you, trust you, sending you 3 deals a year. 75 new deals a year out of 25 people. So go back and say, how many people have you helped in your lifetime? What if you just had 25 people that fought for you every day? So what I try to do is I go through this whole cycle with a person. Imagine if I got you as a real estate agent a 40-something% increase. Would you have a problem getting me other real estate agents? Yes or no? No. If I helped you get 40%, imagine that. If I helped you get 5 more deals a year, do the commission on 5 more deals, you wouldn't have any problem bringing me 5 agents to my coaching program if I got you to such a better place right here. That's the whole point. But if I don't get you here, you're going to be passive. You're going to go, well, didn't work, didn't help me. Okay? If I get you to a better place, then you're going to go bring me more people. That's how the referral cycle works. Okay? What questions do you have about the system? Now, I didn't break the whole system down today because I can't. It took me 10 years to build this system. Can't break it down in an hour and a half. Yep.
What was the 2 you had? You said relationship builder, it supplicates, and then a challenger.
Challenger reframes.
Reframes?
That means you're thinking this way. Because I'm an expert, I'm going to reframe your thinking. Like you're thinking it's got to be 100% of what I want. I'm going to say this is crazy. You're not going to get 100% of what you want. I'm getting you 90% of what you want. That's reframing your thinking. What I'm saying is I'm going to challenge you a little bit. I'm going to make you think, okay? What other questions do you have? Anybody? All right, question now is, do you take this and go do something with it, right? Or do you go back and just do it? Now, today is January 30th. I track my goals every 30 days. I go to bed tired and I wake up hungry. I go to bed broke every night and I start over 0 every day. Okay? If you come back in February and do the exact same thing you did in January, you're just going to get more of what you got in January. Everybody with me? You all heard the definition of insanity. Keep doing what you're doing, expect something different to happen. You came today because you're hungry for something. You know there's another level for you. You just hadn't figured out how to get yourself there. Right? Let's just call it what it is. So what's going to bridge the gap for you? What's going to bridge the gap for you? Okay? Is it you just trying on your own, or is it you having somebody help you? What we do every day, we coach 700 people a month. All I do all day, every day is coach people. This morning I was coaching bankers. This afternoon I'm coaching real estate agents, air conditioning units, air conditioning folks. Okay? Every day I'm looking at businesses and I'm like, man, you got to do this, you got to do this, and you got to do this. The people that don't have coaches, here's what they do. They just flounder around out in the world. Okay? The guy who I told you is doing 125 deals a year that I was coaching, let me tell you, he was the biggest goof-off in Rutherford County when I started coaching him. He used to show up at my house as a friend on Saturday, bring 2 cases of beer and 2 pizzas. He'd eat all the pizza and drink all the beer. And we started coaching him, and he got serious, and he made over $400,000 this past year selling real estate because he had a coach, and he had somebody helping him build a successful business. So he's one of my biggest advocates. He's out there fighting for me every day. He's like, if you don't get in this coaching program, something bad wrong with you. Because let me tell you what happened in my life. He's able to pick up a good-looking woman. Now he's getting married to a pretty woman. His whole life has been changed. So my point is, I hope you're here today, and you can thank the folks at Next Home. Here's the owners here, Randy and Kim. They basically sponsored this for everybody today. Okay, so because I love doing things for people, but I don't do them for free. You understand what I'm saying? So thank you for offering this to everybody that's here. And every month I'm coaching their agents. Every single month I'm coaching their agents. That's part of being at their company. is they give you the coaching. They pay for your coaching. That's part of the deal. I believe everybody needs a good coach in life. How many people believe that? Yeah, a good coach can change your whole life. So hopefully today is not the last time I see you. Hopefully today is the start of me getting you serious about your potential. And by the way, when I asked that person what I really did for him, I said, well, you just boiled down what I did for you. Outside of the coaching, you know what he said? He said, you sparked a curiosity in me about my own potential like nobody has ever done. He's like, for the first time in my life, I got real serious about my potential. And nobody had ever done that for me. That's what you do for me, is you make me be curious about playing at a higher level. So if you don't have anybody in your life like that for you now, whether it be me or whether it be somebody else, we'd love it for it to be us. But I want you to come back to the Greatness Factory more. And I want to see you more. And I want to participate with you, whether it be one-day things, two-day things, or the whole coaching program. Okay? If you got any questions for me, I'll be here. If you got any questions for my mama, she can tell you how she manufactured this monster. Sometimes, you know what my mom tells me? Slow down, enjoy things. You know what I said? Hey, you produced me. This is what you produced. Like a little monster here, okay? And if you ever meet my daughter who's 6 years old, she's a little mini monster, okay? So just, the world is, I'm scared for the world when she gets up there, okay? So guys, thank you for coming today. We'll be here to talk to you as you leave. And if you need anything else, remember, everybody needs a good coach in life. God bless you, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.